Thanks for joining us here on the 5 News Plus Weekend Wrap. I'm Morgan Wrigley. People in Van Buren are cleaning up this weekend after a likely tornado damaged dozens of homes and buildings there. We're looking at video from Sky 5 showing damage at the Housing Authority on Chestnut Street, just south of Maine. Multiple families there are displaced. They recount the moment that likely twister came through.
Her chair and he was sitting in his, and this wall right here is actually the one that came down right on top of her. And when it came down on top of her, I actually had to fold it in half because it wouldn't break any other way. So I had to fold it in half and lean it over, and I was able to get that part. But the window right here, this big pan window, is what fell on top of him. So he had glass all in his arm and he was all scratched up. But when I realized that I couldn't get it by myself, I was like, hey, I asked a neighbor, like, come here, because I need help.
Right now, we have more new video from Sky 5 to show you. This is MP Warehouse on Mary Allen Street near the rail yard. Crawford County Emergency Management says most of the significant damage is around 17th, 18th, and 19th Streets, with more than 50 structures damaged. About a dozen of those have significant damage or are destroyed entirely.
Want to resolve the hazards such as the natural gas leaks and the power lines being down and such, and just make sure the people that live in this city are protected.
City crews have cleared some streets, but officials urge the public to avoid the area until all of the hazards are taken care of. Well, we spent the week tracking down new details in the search for escaped inmate, convicted killer, and rapist Grant Hardin. Hardin broke out of the North Central unit in Calico Rock nearly 2 weeks ago, wearing what authorities say was a fake law enforcement uniform. Now, a tactical Border Patrol unit from Texas has also been deployed to help track him. And while the Department of Corrections is focusing its search in North Central Arkansas, some federal investigators now believe Hardin may have left the state.
Nearly 2 weeks into the search for escaped inmate Grant Hardin, Rand Champion says it's all hands on deck.
Ourselves, state police, U.S. Marshals, FBI, local sheriffs, game and fish. You name pretty much the agency, they're all up here.
A criminal complaint filed May 30th suggests Hardin may have crossed state lines. In that filing, Deputy U.S. Marshal Robert Hammonds references 2 unconfirmed sightings, one in central Arkansas and one in southern Missouri. The complaint says based on this information, investigators believe Hardin has fled the state of Arkansas to avoid recapture. It also points to the possibility he's hiding out in caves or remote parts of the Ozarks. But Champion says the Department of Corrections is still concentrating its efforts on North Central Arkansas, the only place with a confirmed sighting since he escaped.
We understand that there's a lot of thoughts. There have been sightings in Missouri, there have been sightings out of state, but none of those have come to fruition at this point. And so, again, until we find something that substantiates where we believe he would be, we have to continue the search here where we have been this entire time.
And he says there's reason to believe Hardin may still be hiding in the area.
Everything that we've been able to look into and find throughout investigations and questioning makes us believe he was planning on possibly hunkering down here in a cave, in a cabin, in a deer stand, some sort of structure until who knows when.
He says teams from multiple agencies continue to follow up on tips every day because it could be just one that changes everything.
Every tip that comes in, we consider credible until it's not. And so we would rather have, a dozen tips come in that we look into and it turns out to be nothing, rather than the one that I don't know if I should report this, and that would be the one that helps us figure out where he is.
Champion tells me the public plays a critical role, saying people should stay vigilant and report anything suspicious. At this point, he says the whole country is watching, and it may take just one person to help bring Hardin back into custody. Well, former Rogers Police Chief and current City Council member Hayes Minor is accused of driving while intoxicated. Booking reports show Minor faces multiple charges, including DWI and speeding. The police report shows his blood alcohol level was 0.109. He currently represents Ward 3 in the Rogers City Council. That term expires at the end of 2028. Also developing this week, we learned prosecutors in Washington County will not seek the death penalty against Jason Dunnigan. No reason was given for that decision in the court filing, but he's charged with first-degree murder in the deadly shooting of his wife, Amber Dunnigan, in 2021. In Jonesboro, a major crackdown on organized retail theft has led to 16 arrests, with 5 more suspects still at large. Attorney General Griffin says the operation targeted a theft ring hitting 13 retail stores, including Walmart, Target, and Home Depot. In total, more than 60 charges have been filed, ranging from shoplifting to drug possession and forgery. He says his office is working with other states to track similar crime rings nationwide. That investigation is ongoing. In a major development in the fight against human trafficking in Arkansas, Monday, Attorney General Griffin also confirmed a raid at AI Massage in Hot Springs. It uncovered more than $22,000 in cash, foreign currency, and signs of illegal sexual activity. No arrests have been made at this time, but suspects have been identified, and that investigation continues as well. Well, as temperatures rise and school is out, more children are spending time outside. In Siloam Springs, what one teen calls a game with toy guns led to his arrest for alleged aggravated assault. Laura Castleman shares the message from police as these games grow in popularity.
On Saturday, Siloam Springs police responded to a 911 call at this restaurant on Highway 412. A woman reported someone pointed a gun at her while she was driving.
What we received a call to was an individual that was pointing a gun at another subject, and patrol responded. And after locating the subjects, and then what we found was it was an Orbeez gun.
Officers say it was all part of a game organized on Life 360 and Snapchat, known as Splat Ball War, using so-called Orbeez blasters toy guns. Donovan Hayes was part of the group playing Saturday, shooting toy guns that fire water-filled bullets.
I seen some posts about it on Snapchat and TikTok, and then once I got one of the gel blasters from Walmart, texted somebody that was already in it if I could join. He said, yeah, it was fine, sent me the Life 360 code.
While he says the toy guns look harmless to him.
It's all white, it had some colorful stickers on it, green barrel. It looks like a kid's toy.
Police say that doesn't matter when it comes to public safety.
It doesn't matter if it's a fake gun or a real gun or whatever type of gun. If you're driving down the road and you point a gun at someone, you never know how bad that's going to end.
Hayes was arrested on Saturday on an aggravated assault charge and bonded out of the Benton County Jail Monday. He says the game was supposed to be fun, but after spending the weekend in jail, he would urge others to not play in public places.
Just because a gun is a toy doesn't necessarily mean that if you use it in certain ways, there couldn't be criminal penalties attached. You know, if you were threatening somebody with a toy gun but representing it to be a real gun, it could still be a crime.
Law enforcement urges parents to set limits on where and how Orbeez guns are used.
They need to understand the absolute danger that is involved in pointing a fake weapon at someone. And as a parent, it may cost one of your children their life because they pointed that pistol at the wrong person.
In Siloam Springs, covering news where you live, Laura Castleman, 5 News.
Police say while no formal charges have been filed yet, this case is under review by the prosecutor's office. And in the midst of a housing crisis, a new complex opens its doors in Fayetteville. We first told you about the complex last summer when developers announced turning what used to be a hotel into an affordable housing complex. The Nest officially opened a little over 2 weeks ago, and so far already has about 20 tenants moving in. They've been working to complete the process with the city and obtain a certificate of occupancy, and new tenants are already building camaraderie. 5 News reporter Rachel Williams has been following this story since the beginning.
We get along great. I've made some really good friends just in 2 weeks. We all are going through something. It might not be the same thing, but we hang out and we laugh and we hug and we share food with each other and pull meals together, and it's wonderful.
Christina Botner is one of the first to move into the Nest. She says in this season of her life, she's having to start over.
We were married for almost 24 years and going through a divorce, and I've been a stay-at-home mom for 18 years and don't have a lot of money, and I had to start from the bottom, working my way back up. And this is perfect place for me.
Brandon Scallion, the developer of the Nest, says anyone who wants to live here will undergo extensive background checks. He also says with more than 20 cameras on site, they want to make sure every resident feels safe.
They don't want anybody unsafe or feeling like it's unsafe. They're very serious about that. I feel real safe. There's cameras everywhere, and it does not get dark because there's lights everywhere. And I feel safe because a few of the neighbors that I've met have told me, if you need anything, give me a call. So I know that I could if I needed to.
The Nest has 106 units. Before new residents moved in, crews remodeled every room, added granite countertops, air conditioning units, and furniture to 90% of the units.
We see student housing going up everywhere in nice luxury apartments, and now we have another option for the citizens of Fayetteville and surrounding areas to come and have a budgetable rent.
The mission of this place is to give a hand up, not a hand out.
Scallion says this property is not subsidized, but the current tenants are a mix of what demographic they were expecting.
You know, single moms, the elderly, the retired on disability or, you know, Social Security. Of course, you have to make a certain amount to cover the rent and utilities, so not everyone fits, but definitely a lot of people are fitting and a lot of people are liking it.
Scallion says rent ranges from $825 to $950 per month with all utilities included. They want to keep prices as low as possible for anyone to apply and move in there. Well, Fayetteville is stepping up its efforts to address a growing housing crisis. The city has just opened applications for federal funding aimed at creating and preserving affordable housing. 5 News reporter Lauren Spencer tells us that leaders say this is just one step in a much larger push to make the city more livable for everyone.
This aligns directly with our goal of creating and maintaining affordable housing for Fayetteville residents that are making at 80% of the area median income.
The cost of living in Fayetteville keeps rising, and for many, finding an affordable place to live has become harder than ever. Now the city is turning to federal support to help bridge the gap.
It is the largest federal block grant that is specifically and exclusively geared towards creating affordable housing opportunities for low-income residents.
It's the first time Fayetteville has received home funding from HUD, nearly $1.6 million to support this effort. The funds can be used for a range of projects, building new affordable units, developments geared towards first-time or low-income home buyers, tenant assistance, or fixing up existing projects.
I hope that projects like this just make it a little bit easier for people to stay here. You know, we can't grow as a city if our workforce and our residents don't have a place to call home, and that's something that everyone deserves.
Any money that goes into localities for the purpose of creating more affordable and attainable housing options is a positive thing, especially in this day and age.
Housing advocates like Billy Cook say how the money is spent will make all the difference.
I think there are a lot of options for how that money can be used, but I would say it needs to be affordable, it needs to stay affordable, and ultimately the tenants who live there need to have a better stake in the community than they might have in other places.
Mayor Ron says affordability isn't just a goal, it's a requirement.
This project requires that affordable housing that is built remains affordable.
In Fayetteville, covering news where you live, Lauren Spencer, 5 News.
The deadline to submit proposals for the home funds is June 26th. Mayor Ron says the City Council is to approve selected projects later this summer. Well, construction crews held a groundbreaking ceremony Monday on Phase 2 of the Johnson Square development. It's called the Warehouse District. Developers say it will feature housing, retail, and office space, as well as 2 new restaurants. They expect to serve as the anchors for everything going on around there.
For us here in the Warehouse District, our restaurants are our anchor. We have 2 primary tenants right now. Juan Bahima is going to do a restaurant called Costa, and Carl Garrett, who's going to do a restaurant called A1A Table.
Once work is complete, the Warehouse District will also include 72 new apartments. The city of Highville and XNA have gone back and forth after the airport first announced plans to detach from the city. We now have the latest update on the lawsuit filed against Highville. 5 News reporter Kayla Davis sat in on XNA's board meeting Tuesday and has the details.
For this morning's meeting, two versions of a proposal on how sales tax revenue from the airport would be handled were on the table, one from the city and one from the airport. Now, after a unanimous vote from the board, both of those proposals are off the table, and they say they need a fresh start after so much disagreement.
Last October, XNA decided to detach from the city of Highville under Act 769. That law effectively makes all transactions made at the airport exempt from city sales tax. However, Highville currently has an outstanding bond to pay for water and sewer, and city officials say they heavily depend on the sales tax revenue from the airport to pay it. So on March 17th, the city and XNA came to a verbal agreement that over $1 million would go towards bond repayment. That results in $900,000 to go towards discretionary spending to run the city. But it later came out that Highville's interpretation of that agreement was $1.5 million to go towards discretionary spending. Highville City Council member Justin Allen was at the meeting and had a chance to speak against the board to come to an agreement.
We are trying to create peace. Dr. Krall was a board member, talked about an olive branch. That is why I was here. We're ready for an olive branch. We're ready to stop the litigation, wasting taxpayer dollars, wasting energy around something that shouldn't be so complicated.
Instead, the board members rejected Highville's proposal of $1.5 million in discretionary spending and withdrew their own proposal for $900,000.
It makes sense from a housekeeping standpoint to just kind of clear the table of these competing agreements and kind of put them to rest so that we can continue to move forward in the detachment process and try and reach some sort of agreement that is mutually beneficial to the city of Highville and its good citizens, but also to the airport and the customers.
XNA has filed a lawsuit against the city asking the court to enforce Act 769, requiring all sales tax revenue to go towards bond repayment, leaving none left over for discretionary spending. But both parties are still hoping they can work out negotiations in the future.
We will be ordered and directed to negotiate, to continue negotiations with the city of Highville. If those negotiations are unsuccessful, we will be directed to participate in mediation. So we have a lot of opportunities in front of us to get this thing worked out.
We have to go back to the drawing board and try to figure out why we couldn't accomplish the mission we all wanted to do for our constituents.
FERC says this agreement is so important because the larger the amount in discretionary spending, the less that's going towards that bond repayment. And the longer it takes to pay off that bond, the longer you'll have to pay that 2% sales tax on the bagel you buy or the car you rent at the airport. Both groups say they're hoping to extend an olive branch soon. In Highville, covering news where you live, Kayla Davis, 5 News.
Well, the city of Arcoma has been spared a massive sewer rate increase from the city of Fort Smith, at least for now. City directors decided to temporarily pause a 350% increase in sewer bills. That increase was supposed to have started June 1st. After a lengthy discussion Tuesday, the board asked city staff to come back with a different sewer rate plan.
The board last week asked administration to work with the mayor and vice mayor in Arcoma to resolve this issue, to come to some kind of middle grounds. So regardless of the input, the conversation will continue, but at least administration and Arcoma hears what the board has on our minds.
This same board raised water rates to 150% to people outside the city. And we did it without blinking an eye. And we're talking about giving people in another city of 613 people, 613 citizens or residents, another state, have access to our sewer system that we've got a federal consent decree to get a lower rate. I think that's a wrong message to send to our public.
It was decided that the new rate schedule for Arcoma would be voted on by city directors on June 17th. Well, Arkansas is now ranked #1 in the nation for election integrity. That's according to the conservative think tank, the Heritage Foundation. The jump from 8th place comes after new laws and internal changes aimed at tightening voter security. Among the updates, address verification using credit data and tapping into a federal immigration database to flag non-citizens on the voter rolls.
Not the biggest state, we're not the richest state, but we are a place that trusts each other and that is willing to put forward extra work to make sure that we have a government that we know is responsible to the people. And the #1 way we do that is having fair and secure elections. Great Tuesday. I appreciate you. Thank you.
State Senator Kim Hammer appeared with the Secretary of State Tuesday after leading the charge for most of the new election laws that were passed this spring. Hammer is running to replace Jester next year, while Jester plans to run for land commissioner. The University of Arkansas shares plans to close an encampment site on campus property. For years, people experiencing homelessness have camped out on the 19th Street property. 5 News reporter Rachel Williams is there with how people are responding.
Many members of the unhoused community call 19th Street home. It's right in between Seven Hills and New Beginnings, where many get their resources like meals and take showers. I spoke with one person who lives in this area, and he doesn't know where he'll go next. David Cates has been experiencing homelessness for the past 2 years, living here in this area. Learning he'll have to relocate due to the encampment sweep left him speechless.
They're destroying all the apartments that we could afford to build high-rise apartments for the college students, and we're running out of place to be. And most of us are willing to work, but if you can't take a regular shower and you can't wash your clothes, who's going to want you to work?
For the last 2 weeks, the University of Arkansas, which owns the 19th Street property, has issued notices to vacate encampments, saying they've become a safety concern with frequent reports of crime.
It's really disruptive for them to announce that they're going to be sweeping this area and completely removing anyone, because that means people are going to lose access to those services, potentially lose any of their belongings, any important documentation.
Fayetteville's Forgotten is an advocacy group supporting people experiencing homelessness. During this time of transition, community members are making sure they still have access to resources, like those offered at nearby Seven Hills and New Beginnings.
To find a safe place for them to go and then organize volunteers and services so that they are taken care of over the course of the next few days leading up to the sweep in that transition process.
Meanwhile, the UA Police Department is providing those impacted with a packet of local resources, and the university says it's working closely with the city of Fayetteville to ensure a safe relocation of numerous encampments. As for David, he's hopeful for opportunities that help him and others escape homelessness.
It's a chance. Talk about reentry. Help people get jobs. Help reintegrate us to society. What's up? 90 days, re-entry, help us get a job. We ain't even got IDs. We got all our things stolen.
Mayor Molly Ron ran her campaign on addressing the housing crisis as one of her top priorities. UAPD reports the unhoused community has until Monday, June 9th to vacate the property. Whatever's left will be thrown out. But for now, I'm in Fayetteville, covering news where you live. Rachel Williams, 5 News.
In response to the sweep, Mayor Ron is hosting a community conversation this weekend to hear from residents, advocates, and anyone concerned about housing insecurity. The open dialogue is Sunday from 4 to 6 at St. Paul's Episcopal Church. Mayor Ron says the city is meeting with local agencies and service providers to prepare for the impacts of the sweep. And the city of Rogers is encouraging residents and visitors to explore everything the city has to offer with a new program. It's called the Summer Badge Passport. 5 News reporter Kayla Davis spoke with a member of Rogers Parks and Rec to get all the details.
Northwest Arkansas has so much to offer, even in the heat of summer. The city of Rogers is making sure residents and visitors alike experience their main attractions.
This is a new program for us. We thought it would just be a nice way to engage the community in those activities that you already enjoy in Rogers during the summer, and also a good way to try to push people to try out some of these areas.
The Summer Badge Passport focuses on 5 key areas to guarantee you see the best of Rogers. The passport starts in downtown Rogers, asking participants to visit a local museum and a downtown business, snap a selfie with public art, stop by the Rogers Farmers Market, and see a downtown landmark. If you like water,
one of the badges is for our splash pads and the Aquatic Center. The Aquatic Center is now open, so we hope that people go and enjoy that this summer.
Or music.
Our Rail Yard Live concert series, it's free concerts every Friday and Saturday night. You can get a Rail Yard Live Music Lover badge if you attend 3 shows.
And we can't forget that Northwest Arkansas is one of the biking capitals of the world. You can earn the bike badge visiting the Rail Yard Bike Park and Loop Trail. Lastly, those who enjoy volunteer work will have an opportunity to put in some extra hours.
3 hours of volunteerism will get you the volunteer badge, and it doesn't have to be hours with the city. So any students who are already doing your volunteer service, just show us your hours and we'll get you a bag too.
The program will run till August 31st, and King says there's an incentive.
If you complete all 5 badges, you'll be entered into a special prize drawing at the end of the program.
And Rogers, covering news where you live. Kayla Davis, 5 News.
Well, Walmart is partnering with an Arkansas small business. The retail giant selling local products in stores across the country. Most recently, Catfish Hole's famous green tomato relish appeared on Walmart shelves. 5 News reporter Rachel Williams shares how this partnership works.
Fayetteville staple Catfish Hole is starting to sell a fan favorite in local Walmart stores.
We've been serving the tomato relish for years, of course, and we've had customers tell us over and over and over, do you guys sell this as a pint jar, something we could take for gifts or something like that? And so basically just listen to the consumer.
After selling the product in their restaurant and seeing the high demand, CEO and President Britton White says he knew it was time to partner with a retail giant.
Met with the buyers, they loved the idea, gave us a test store. We did it in Bentonville, Arkansas in the downtown neighborhood market. Went crazy, but at that point the market manager said, let's get it in all my stores. So we rolled out to the rest of the Springdale, Rogers, Bentonville area stores. To get it going.
Catfish Hole is a great example of a local product from a beloved local institution coming into Walmart, putting their product on our shelves, and our customers absolutely loving it.
Michael Lindsay, Walmart Director of Public Affairs, says 60% of the product they sell in Walmart stores are from small businesses.
And what we found is that our customers love to buy local products.
For now, the green tomato relish is sold in 17 neighborhood markets.
So pretty much any neighborhood market in Northwest Arkansas, over to Siloam Springs, to Pea Ridge, out to Farmington, you'll see the tomato relish somewhere on the shelves in the stores. We have a huge shipment coming in this week, and we're going to be delivering to the supercenters in the River Valley area.
But the growth doesn't stop in this region.
And we're also going to move out towards Conway, maybe get some into Little Rock here, probably here in the next 2 to 3 weeks.
We work with all our small businesses to grow their products from one stores to hundreds to even thousands of stores around the country. So this is definitely a product that we want to work with the supplier and try and grow their business for sure.
Covering news where you live, Rachel Williams, 5 News.
Catfish Hole is one of many small businesses Walmart partners with. In stores, you can find products from Wright's Barbecue, Rick's Bakery, and Fire and Smoke Society from Little Rock. Well, the Scott Family Amazeum in Bentonville is breaking new ground. This expansion will revolutionize science, technology, engineering, art, and math, also known as STEAM education. The Amazeum's groundbreaking event marks the first phase of the Expanding Futures Capital campaign to enhance STEAM learning with new immersive spaces tailored to Northwest Arkansas's growing needs.
We know that we've needed an expansion for a while. We've listened to the community, we've had some listening sessions and gotten feedback, and we knew that it was needed, so we just got to get it done as quickly as we could. It was a fun announcement in January, and now being able to celebrate that is a great day.
The expansion will include an early learning advancement center, a vibrant social space called the Hangout, and the backyard, an outdoor play area. These additions will enhance the museum's ability to serve early learners and families across the region. And this month, Best Friends Animal Society and ongoing partner Litter Robot are teaming up to dispel common cat misconceptions while helping more felines find loving homes through a nationwide initiative called Truth or Tales. Animal lovers everywhere are invited to help separate truth from tales by sharing photos or videos of cats defying myths. And for every post using the hashtag Feline Folklore Challenge, Litter Robot will donate $1 to Best Friends Animal Society, up to $10,000 to support cats in shelters. Litter Robot is also sponsoring cat and kitten adoption fees this month at all Best Friends locations nationwide, including the Pet Resource Center here in Northwest Arkansas. Well, thank you for watching the 5+ Weekend Wrap. And while you're here on 5 News Plus, you can check out our latest newscast and weather impact forecast on demand, along with other original content from the 5 News team. Have a great weekend.